My name is Daniel Wilson, and I'm the author of Robopocalypse. I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I ended up going to the University of Tulsa for undergraduate, and then I went out to Pittsburgh to Carnegie Mellon and joined the Robotics Institute for graduate school. Then I moved to Portland, Oregon, and that's where I live now with my wife and my daughter. When I was a kid, all I wanted to do was, be a writer and be a scientist. Those were my two things that I always loved. I always imagined myself in a lab coat, just the very stereotypical scientist. That's what I really dug. So I read a lot. I read, tons of short stories, mostly science fiction. Asimov, Clarke, Heinlein, Ray Bradbury. I was also into Stephen King and Kurt Vonnegut, Philip K. Dick. And I started writing short stories whenever I was in high school, and they were all really terrible, and they all got rejected, rightfully, because I went back and read them recently, and I can say objectively that they were terrible. So not able to make it as a writer at 18, I ended up going to college and studying computer science. Over the years, I spent a lot of time thinking about robot uprisings. At first, just because I've always really liked robots, and you read about, you read fiction and you see a lot of robot uprisings in fiction. So I'm aware of all of those, But also just going through and writing How to Survive a Robot Uprising. I was a journalist for Popular Mechanics. I wrote lots of articles for them. And so you sort of see robots from that angle a lot because that's how they're often presented to the public to make them more interesting. And so slowly over the years, all these scenarios and all the different little interesting things that happen in each chapter just sort of accumulated with me. And I realized that I needed to get them all out in one place, and that's Robopocalypse. A lot of the book takes place in Oklahoma, just sort of expected since I'm from there. But one of the coolest aspects of this is, it's the Robopocalypse. The infrastructure of our society has crumbled. The utilities, the communications, transportation, all that stuff is technology, and all of it's gone. And so the government is pretty much gone. The government's not there to help people. Not a big surprise. But as it turns out, all across the United States, there are small sovereign governments, and they belong to Native American tribes. And these sovereign governments coexist with the United States government. And they have their own jails, their own hospitals, their own police forces. And I grew up in Oklahoma, in Tulsa. I'm a little bit Cherokee. Everybody there is, pretty much. And I grew up in the Cherokee Nation, which is really just a boundary that says, this is the Cherokee Nation. And, if you want to get a Cherokee license plate, you vote in elections. There really is this other government superimposed on top of the United States government. And it's a smaller government. It's more nimble. There's fewer people. And it's a tighter community than you could say the community of the entire United States is. So when the United States government crumbles, these sovereign governments step up. This book is epic. And it goes 5 years out into the future of a robot war. And during this time, the evil machines are continuing to evolve according to their own, according to their own parameters. So that was really fun because I got to think about, how would a completely alien intelligence decide to evolve to create, new versions of itself that are designed to do all kinds of stuff. That's my favorite thing about Robopocalypse is the bad guy, the evil robot guy, he's not completely focused on just killing people. I love robots. I think robots are better than that. I don't think that robots have to be defined by human beings. If you're a super intelligent robot, why would you even care about human beings that much? I mean, you would care about a lot of things. Human beings would be one of them. You wouldn't be completely devoted to destroying human beings. Why would you care that much? I mean, that's just sad. So the robots in this book really have a lot of goals. Wiping out humanity is just sort of a side project. When I started writing Robopocalypse, I had a real schedule that I had to keep, and I was talking to my editor, Jason Kaufman, and he said, "What's your schedule?" I said, "I write in the mornings, and I kind of goof off in the afternoon." And he said, "Well, we really need it faster. Here's an idea. Write in the mornings, and then write in the afternoons." You're a genius, Jason. Wow, what a great idea. Maybe I'll try that. I could be a little nerdy. I think people might make that call, But it's a little bit empowering to be a little geeky, because being geeky really demonstrates that you just don't really care what other people think. In the strata of high school, I can kind of summarize my position just by saying that I was the vice president of the computer club. So I wasn't the president of the computer club, but I was in it, and I was, VP. I don't know what that means, really. Writing is hard. I mean, looking at just a blank page is just depressing, and, having to fill it up is tough. Every day actually starts with a really long shower where I think of all my ideas. And when I have a really good idea, I punch the wall. My wife knows I had a great idea. If I'm in the shower going, oh yeah, I got a good one, that's weird.